Hello, hello, brothers and sisters. It's a new week, and we're happy to welcome you to our show titled Speak of Africa. The news today is going to really interest you a whole lot. You guys have sent us a whole lot of videos, and we're telling you we thank you very much for this effort. Continue sending us content. This week, when we look at Africa in geopolitical context, you guys are really concerned about the role of the French in Africa. You guys are not really happy with the presence of the French. You feel like France has made a lot of mistakes and has committed a lot of sins in Africa. And most of you are asking me to bring a lot of this information out to the world this week. And I'm going to do just what you guys are asking me to do. I'm going to share a whole lot of the information. You guys are saying no more FrancAfrique. FrancAfrique is a derogatory term which is used to refer to the fact that France is colonizing a lot of its former colonies by using agreements that are shady, military agreements to control most of these countries. They control the economy, they control the society, and they control the politics. So they have a lot of these secret agreements which they made most of the African colonies to sign before they were given flag independence. And this has continued up to today. So you guys are really referring to a whole lot of this anti-French feeling. And I'm really seeing a lot of it. I've been trying to study, in fact, even the response to the war in Ukraine and Russia. Most of you are not really happy with this war. And you're not even happy with the American presence. And you asked me to say it. I'm in the middle. I'm your voice. So I'm not pro-America, I'm not pro-Russia, I'm not pro-France. I try to reflect what you guys are saying. What you guys are saying is you want the world to know, because it looks like America doesn't even understand why many African countries are pro-Russia. And you're asking me to clarify this point. This is what the show of today is about. We're going to try to clarify why the majority of Africans are supporting Russia during this conflict in Ukraine. Because the American audience is asking a lot of questions. Why are Africans not supporting America in their millions and billions? Why are they supporting Russia? So that's why we want to put this in context. We want to address this question, and we want the world, especially the Americans, to understand why your average African supports Russia. It's actually a colonial problem. The Africans are very unhappy with the way France has conducted its African policy. Since the 1950s, Africans are not happy. In fact, a few months ago, Emmanuel Macron even held a meeting. Instead of meeting with African presidents, he decided to meet with the members of the African community. And they made him understand that France has done so much wrong to Africa, and the relationship between France and its former African colonies needs a total makeover. They are not happy. France has committed so many sins. France has committed so many mistakes, made so many mistakes. As a result, most of these countries are not happy. We can start showing you the unhappiness. And this unhappiness really became a watershed moment when France, under Sarkozy, Nicolas Sarkozy, decided to kill Muammar Gaddafi. This really changed the way Africans look at France for the worse. Gaddafi, some of you may call him a dictator, but to the average African, Gaddafi represented the dream of a free Africa. For so long, Africans have been dreaming of one country, a United States of Africa. It has never really happened because most of the colonial powers, they scramble for what Africa has and they don't really care about African interests. France, as a matter of fact, is the worst of all the colonial powers. France takes everything Africa has and Africans are left with nothing. And we have a whole lot of videos that you guys sent to us to educate the world about your position vis-a-vis France. When you look at this, on the economic side, Africans are unhappy because France takes their resources, France engages in unfair trade. France receives a lot of resources from Africa. France treats Africa like a plantation. They take all the resources and they leave Africa with nothing. On a political level, Africans are unhappy because France props up dictators. A lot of the African dictators are there because France is supporting them. So that's something that is really hurting the relationship between France and a lot of African countries. On a social level, Africans are unhappy with the racism of France. Africans think that France's foreign policy is very racist. Why? Well, France comes to Africa, France takes what Africa has, but when Africans go to France, France doesn't want to give anything to Africans. France refers to them derogatorily as les immigrés. So France doesn't want them to come to France and actualize themselves. So that's one of the reasons why Africans are unhappy with France, and they say no more FrancAfrique. This relationship of inequality between France and Africa has to end. And most African countries are making their voices heard. We can even start with Cameroon. Cameroon, you look at Cameroon, Cameroon has been in a civil war since 2017. Okay, why? Because the English-speaking folks who call themselves the Ambazonians are unhappy with the French system. Okay, when they decided to protest, the puppet that France has put in Cameroon, called Paul Biya, decided to send his thugs and his goons to beat and kill people in that part of the world. So since 2017, this has been going on. France knows what is happening. In fact, an activist in France, Cabral Libro, had even talked to Emmanuel Macron about this. Do you know that Paul Biya is killing people in Cameroon? Emmanuel Macron said, yes, je sais. Je vais parler à Paul Biya. This created a whole lot of furor in the Francophone world. But did anything really change? Not really. France is more interested in her financial interests, so France doesn't really care about Africans. So that's why Africans don't like France. And that's why there's so much anti-French feeling in Africa. Africans are looking elsewhere. If you look at most of the former French colonies, they are looking for new partners. They are tired of the partnership they have with France because they feel it is a partnership between folks who are not equal. So they look for partnership between two parties who are equal so that they can do commerce together, they can live together. But France doesn't really want to work with Africans on a level playing field. France wants to dominate. France wants to steal all what Africa has. And this is creating a lot of problems. And if you really want to see, for example, what is happening in Cameroon, Paul Biya is a very old leader. He's been there for forever, probably the oldest now in Africa. When you look at France, they're sending a military ambassador to this part of the world. Why? This is strange. Then you compare a former French colony which has left France and gotten into the anglophone orbit. Take, for example, Rwanda. It's a country that has gone through a civil war, a genocide, but in no time, because of good governance, Paul Kagame has been able to move this country forward. You will not even believe the level of development that has been achieved in Rwanda, which used to be a former French colony. After they made the decision to abandon France and engage on an Anglo-Saxon development model, everything changed. The fortunes of that country changed dramatically. And you can see that Rwanda is moving forward. Rwanda today is a pride of a lot of African countries. It is true. The detractors of Rwanda will say Paul Kagame has been there for too long, he's a dictator, but nobody would argue that Paul Kagame has done a whole lot to develop his country. The signs are there. The US President Ronald Reagan once said, only a fool quarrels with success. Once you see success, you have to admit it, that Paul Kagame has done a fantastic job. By contrast, you guys have sent me images of La République du Cameroun. Today in 2022, you see the roads, mud everywhere, everything looks, then you see the contrast. You see the roads in Rwanda, clean, modern. So you guys are asking me to show this contrast so that the world can see. So that's why there is a whole lot of anti-French feeling. Yet, France gives weapons to the Paul Biya regime to continue killing people in Ambazonia. And I will share a video with you, which so many of you sent to me yesterday. It shows the Biya's B, Bataillon d'Intervention Rapide guys. They arrested a guy in front of his wife and his children, and they started beating him. They started kicking him until one of the soldiers had to beg, say, please, stop, stop, stop. Let the world see this. Is this how you treat human beings?
Cherchez nos dés. 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 Écrivez. Cherchez nos dés. Cherchez nos dés. Yes. Cherchez nos dés. Yes. Cherchez des.
So this is why the people don't want to stay in La République du Cameroun, and this is why the Ambazonians want to go their way. And you can see that now the Ambazonians are learning to fight for their freedom. You can see the picture. The guys have restoration forces. Now they are covering their faces. Look at the mountain lions. Take a look at their video.
Those are the sniper shooters. As you can see, they are protecting the General of Army, General Transporter, and FM Bitakola. As you can see, the both of them. You can see the mission commanders. You can see the lieutenant colonels, the commanders. That is Pa Kunde, General Kunde. That is Captain Shina Rambo. And this is the biggest boss. It cause trouble, as you can see. Everybody has mounted.
You see them disguising, because whenever they show their faces, La République targets them. So this is sad. And you can also see another video with most of these mountain lion guys. They found a cache of weapons, because after they neutralized some of the soldiers from La République du Cameroun, they seized their weapons. Take a look at the video.
Good morning. Yes, now small Jordi will don't take them for these foolish fools where they call themselves say like public. Yes. Now small one icky that we don't tell them say make the knocker find we now will carry find them.
That one day.
Since their papa no one live where people go, we will come after them. Yes.
Clear.
Now one food we call itself say Monique. Now the dog ID card this.
Monkey.
Yes, we don't kill you, we don't throw you off a board. Yes, so their place no day. Yes.
Should not shine.
So na gendarman. So I talk on behalf of FACO, Mountain Lion Brigade, under Major General Sagat and General Sky. And the other commandant they did for the mission. Commandant Mupao, Commandant Chiboy, Commandant Pipiro, Colonel Champi, Commandant Pakam, Commandant, the General Mission Commandant Olo, Boss B, and the other big people them. So all man the place is there. So we for FACO, we don't put on from today henceforth say we no go the one me they come after we will go visit them. Me they take patient. We will the visit them. From henceforth, we will nakana them waiting no good. No be so? No. If it shine, it should shine. So Ambazonian people, when I picking them, they don't put out for their body. As a wana, as a bomb, it's simile.
So things are not going well. So this is why they don't like France in this part of the world because they feel like France is part of their problem. France is the problem, France is the enemy. And that's how the average Ambazonian thinks. Even the Francophones now are realizing that France is not good for them. So the Anglophones are not the only ones having the problem because they speak English. No, it's not a linguistic problem. It's a problem of a cabal that has taken the country hostage and is making the other people poor while they feed on the national cake. That's what is happening in La République du Cameroun.
Do you need tax preparation services? We can help. Contact PJ Tax Service, America's only full-time income tax preparers. Like the good old doctor, we do not close our doors after April 15th. In fact, we stay open all year round in order to serve you. We are located at 11207A, Lockwood Drive, Silver Spring, Maryland, 20901. Make an appointment today with Prince Ojong, your tax expert. Call 240-350-1131 or visit us on the web at www.pjtaxservice.com.
Then, of course, you have the issues of floods in La République du Cameroun. Even in Chad, you also have these floods. But things are not really well. So next, we take you to Benin. Benin also is another country where you can see where there's anti-French feeling. The people feel like politically, socially, and economically, France has done them ill. Racism, support of dictators, stranglehold on the economy, and the stealing of their resources. Those are the same complaints Benin is making. You can see their president. Benin used to be the former Republic Kingdom of Dahomey. Patrice Talon, est-il content avec les Français? Non, il n'est pas content. He's angry with the French. He's not happy with the French, okay? Then next, we'll take you to Burkina Faso. Burkina Faso, just like Benin, is having issues with jihadism. In the north, just like we were telling you that in Benin, there have been incursions. Jihadists went in and killed people in the north. And the army is struggling to hold these jihadists at bay. The same happens in Burkina Faso. Even after the arrival of the new president, Ibrahim Traoré, jihadists are still killing people in the north. So, under his watch, this has happened already. So how is he going to make things different from Damiba? That's the question a lot of inquiring minds are asking. Is Ibrahim Traoré going to make things different from his predecessor? We are watching and want to see how this will happen. Already, the positive sign is Ibrahim Traoré has already made plans for the transition. So people are already preparing for the transition in Burkina Faso. Okay? Central African Republic, the anti-French feeling is rife. And you can already see the government of Ashange Touadera has gotten tired with the French, and now they've decided to go to Russia. Russia now they're the darling. Russia is the darling. Russia is ripping this country. They are stealing their resources. But in return, Russia gives them security. So that's just what is happening. The anti-French feeling is very, very high. Then Mali even represents the worst case where you see the anti-French feeling. This week, we also saw a lot of a bus attack. Jihadists attacked a bus and there was a bomb blast. I think over 11 people died. So Mali now is a hotbed of jihadi activity. Yet, the people have decided to sever ties, to cut ties with France, because they feel like France is not a good partner for security. Even though France has been there for a long time, they've continued dealing with this issue of insecurity. At one point, they just feel like France is there just to steal their resources, so they want France to leave. Now they've brought the Wagner group from Russia, so they are now on a honeymoon. How long is this honeymoon going to last? Is the Wagner group going to stay there for long? With what is happening now in Ukraine, we think this is not going to last for too long, because the United States is also looking at this region, and the French are not also very happy. But I think it's time for the French to make amends, change their ways. The French need to change their ways. No more racism, no more stealing of African resources, do transparent business, okay? When you steal Africans' resources, the people are not happy. So the relationship needs to change. Okay? You talk about égalité, fraternité. You have to believe in what your former philosophers believe by treating Africans better. But the French are racist, and Africans are unhappy about this. They call them immigrants. So Mali has finally decided to just kick out the French from their country. Okay? This is what's happening. Even with the rise in jihadist activity, the people of Mali have decided that, okay, they will support the junta so long as the junta would look for a fresh approach to handle the security problem. France is persona non grata. They don't want France anymore. So it's a big disgrace. All the other superpowers, like China, they are trying to make inroads into most of these former French colonies. So they have lost. Then you look at Niger. Niger also is another example where the Africans are very, very angry with France. There's even a video, 3 of you sent to us, of a young girl explaining why Africans are unhappy with France. They are unhappy because France establishes military bases, then they engage in illegal activities, stealing the minerals of Africans. And the United States is not left out of this. It looks like the US base too is not far from there. All of them are in Niger. Niger has so much wealth, but the people don't enjoy this wealth. The people cannot even enjoy light, which is a basic resource. But France takes all these resources, and France has better light than Niger. So watch this video for a minute and see what the people are complaining about.
Niger has one of the biggest uranium deposits. How interesting is it that one of the biggest US foreign drone bases happens to be there? 1. 2, that France has a strong military presence adjacent to this big uranium deposit. And then finally, that I think it's 1 in 3 French light bulbs, the light bulbs in France, 1 in 3 of them gets energy from that uranium deposit in Niger, in Africa. And let us contrast the reality of the fact that, as far as I know, most of the French population has access to electricity. I think they have 100% electricity
24
access rate.
last I was there, it was 24 hours a day, always coming out
all
of
the
the
time.
outlet. Mm-hmm.
What is the access of the people of Niger? It is less than, I think, 15% have access to the grid, let alone the guarantee of electricity. Those are the people of Niger. And I'm saying this because we've just seen in Afghanistan, they've left Afghanistan 20 years, over 2 trillion spent. Is it 2 trillion, right? 2.
I think it's an underestimate. I think it's closer to 6 trillion. But let's go, to be generous, we can say 2 trillion. It's still an absurd amount of money. 2
trillion. Let's be generous. And how much of the population has access to electricity? It's less than a third. I think it's closer to a quarter of the population. So in Niger, you have 80+% of the population don't have access to electricity. We've seen what has happened in Afghanistan. Most of the population doesn't have access to electricity. Yet we still don't want to talk about the fact that the US, French, and foreign military armies are essentially protecting their access to these resources at the detriment of the African continent.
Okay, so you can see, we've shown you the sins of the French. This is why the people don't like France in Africa. Rwanda is an example. The Rwandans decided to deal with the problem by just kicking the French and adopting an English system of development. Libya is still in tatters since Sarkozy led the killing of Gaddafi. Things have not been the same. It has created more instability in the Sahel region in Africa. If the French had not killed Gaddafi, things would not have been this bad. But back then, the Africans were learning to manage it. But after they killed Gaddafi, a lot of these people left. They started preaching. So now they are preaching the gospel that the people can relate to. They see exactly what is happening to them. And this is not good. So the anti-French feeling is really rife. So there are 3 pillars. Politically, the French need to encourage democracy in Africa. Instead of worrying about their interests, they should try to be equitable in dealing with Africans. Encourage the rise of democracy. Because if there's democracy, there will be more peace, then you will not be having all this jihadism. So democracy is the first pillar. Second pillar is economics. Instead of using the French franc to tie ropes on the necks of Africans, France should leave Africans to develop their own economies, because this is very important. The Africans would love to use their own currency, but France continues to impose the CFA franc on Africans, and this is creating a whole lot of problems. The CFA is a stranglehold on the neck of Africans, and Africans are tired. They want this to be removed. So France should know this. Third, socially is the problem of racism. France is a racist country. Africans are not treated well in France. But France goes to Africa and they want to stay there and steal all the resources for Africans. Look at Bolloré. He's a big thief. Even in France, he has been found guilty as a thief. But Bolloré bribes all these African presidents and steals all the resources of Africans. Okay? So that's why Africans are not happy with France. We think we've given you a summary of what is really making Africans unhappy with France, but we'll end our show by going on alarm. We want to show what is happening in Nigeria. Okay? We'll end our show in Nigeria after we've talked about all these African countries.
Now more than ever, it is critical that medical facilities utilize modern, reliable electronic health records. Introducing Alexia HTC, the innovative, affordable online solution for physicians and patients. Doctors' visits, diagnoses, prescriptions, and billing have never been easier. With Alexia HTC, you can work more efficiently with the integrated flexibility medical professionals need today. Schedule a live demonstration. Call or visit us at alexiahtc.com.
Nigeria is having elections next year in May 2023, and already the three candidates are really jockeying for power. This week, we heard what Atiku Abubakar was saying. Some of our viewers did not really like the way Atiku Abubakar was talking against people in the south, saying that they don't really need the Muslims in the north, don't really need the Yorubas, they don't need the Igbos. Why should a candidate be talking like this? This shows that Atiku is not really a mature candidate. You've been vice president before. When you speak in public, you have to measure your speech. Don't just speak carelessly. Words are like daggers. They can hurt. So a lot of people do not like what Atiku did. Bola Tinubu has been very cool, but a guy who is really making a lot of headlines, is catching a lot of fire, is Peter Obi. We told you already, unlike Bola Tinubu, who has a campaign based on stomach-care politics, Peter Obi is trying to present a new kind of politics to Nigerians, the politics of ideas. How do you fix a broken country? How do you fix a broken economy? Peter Obi is telling you that he has positive ideas that can move Nigeria forward. If you remember, when Buhari was running for president a second time during that re-election campaign, that's how we discovered Peter Obi, and we brought him to your attention. We spoke a lot about what he was doing. And when we watched most of the debates on channel television, we told you that Peter Obi probably was the best of all the candidates. He was able to express himself, articulate his points very well. But because of the cabal in Nigeria, he did not go very, very far, even though he was the vice president of Atiku Abubakar then. This time, under the Labour Party banner, he's the president and he has a vice. We are going to share a video that is making the rounds of social media. Peter Obi walked into a room where former President Olusegun Obasanjo is making a speech, and they wanted to give him a seat where the VIPs were sitting, and he decided that he's humble. He just wanted to sit somewhere where he will not really be seen. Obasanjo told the people that leave him alone. I'm going to give him my seat. I have the most prominent seat in the room. I'm going to give him my seat. My job is done. So that's how I will bring Nigeria new leadership that will be different from the leadership of Bola Tinubu. Okay? So this was a really highlight. I want you to take a moment to watch this video because Nigerians are watching this video and going crazy. Watch it again.
In the presence of Nigerians, I got the job. Ladies and gentlemen, let's celebrate our former president, Chief Olusegun Obasanjo.
Thank you very much for watching this video. We've come to the end of our show, but we want to remind you that please support the businesses that we feature on this show. This week, we're going to talk to you about the Ghana Community Center, which is really doing a whole lot of good work. They have a clinic, and we're helping them to start using Alexia HTC in this clinic to treat immigrants. So it's a big deal. They're going to be working with Alexia Care Corporation to use our EMR, EHR in their clinic in Chicago. So this is a big deal, okay? Next, we're going to talk to you about True Health. True Health is also a clinic that we've been working on, and they are opening their doors tomorrow, and we're asking patients to go to this clinic and support them. Then, of course, Bytech 97, that's a business that supports us. We're asking you to also support them if you want to get jobs in IT. Like I have a friend, would you help him get a job making over 100,000, Scrum Master. So there are a lot of opportunities, my people. Don't stay behind. Get a training so that you can make more money, okay? People like me, I'm an old guy. My time is up, so I'm just wrapping things up. But I want you guys to do better. So Bytech 97, go to the classes and get a better job, okay? Ayuk Tax Service, okay? Tax season is coming. We're training a lot of new tax preparers. So if you want to get trained, call us and we'll be able to help you. Ayuk Tax Service. We're going to share our website with you. Please use this information and do yourself a favor. Besides, we are also helping a lot of businesses in healthcare. If you want to form a healthcare business, a non-profit, for-profit, a clinic, we are here to help you. We have the technology. And we're also going to help you even with marketing. So don't stay behind. Don't say you didn't hear it. Come to this show. We are helping you to change your lives, okay? Your destiny is what's important. You can change your destiny. God did not intend for you to remain poor. If you are poor, it's because of your choice. So choose to make money next year. God bless you. Bye-bye.
Medical practice software is too old. Indeed, all the programs are built on MUMPS, technology of the 1950s, and the programs cost too much money. Epic and Cerner cost billions of dollars. Meditech costs thousands of dollars too. In fact, that's why we created AlexiaHTC.com, a new and free EMR/EHR for doctors. AlexiaHTC.com is built for HIPAA. Yes, magical one-screen technology, ease of use, quick charting, amazing e-prescribing, tight labs integration, multi-office difference, because we believe doctors and patients need a break today. Be the first to test drive AlexiaHTC.com. You have nothing to lose, you have everything to gain. Act now. Call 240-350-1131. Alexia Care Corporation at AlexiaHTC.com.
Selling a service or a product? Need buyers? Use the African Nation TV as a channel to reach many viewers. Act now and call Prince Ojong at 240-350-1131. That's 240-350-1131. Act today.